Welcome back into Squirrel Hollow, everybody. All right, welcome back, everybody. Earlier this afternoon, doing some maintenance on the Scag Turf Tiger. I was out mowing Saturday and bent one of the blade bolts that goes up through to hold the blade on. I need a set of blades anyway, so I just sharpened up a set. I'm gonna slap them on there, and I got some new bolts to put in it also. So we're gonna take care of that this evening, and hopefully I can cut some grass with it tomorrow evening when I get home. So when you change your blades, they take a 24 millimeter socket or 15/16 will work also. Either one of those two will work. I have modified this one a little bit because the deck cuts a little funky. So I've actually got some spacers underneath of the deck to kind of level the blades out. So I actually got some aftermarket bolts, and the ones I got are way too long. So I'm having to use a wrench to get the top part off. In a normal situation, you should be able to just take a regular, I usually just take an impact socket, like say 24 millimeter or 15/16. Take your impact, put it on the top, spin it off, and the blade will just drop right out in a perfect world. Every now and then they will get stuck, and sometimes you'll have to take a breaker bar or something other and break them loose. They do make a little tool called, I think it's called a blade buddy. Slides up on the blade and locks the blade in place where you can take a breaker bar. Sometimes you have to put a piece of pipe on it because I guess over time they just kind of tighten themselves up. So, but like I say, I've done some modifications to this one on I know this side and that side. I think the middle is still original. But anyway, same concept. I just got a longer bolt coming through, so I'm gonna have to use a wrench because my socket won't reach it. This bolt right here, like I say, I've modified it. The book calls for a 9.5 inch blade bolt. This is a 12 inch blade bolt. This is the one that's bent. I can't get a socket down on it right now, so I'm just gonna take the saws off, cut the top of that off, since the bolt is no good anyway. Now I can just put my impact on it, and it should spin right off. Alright, so we got all my blades loose. They done dropped down. I'm going to just take my floor jack right now, jack the front of the mower up, so I can get those blades from out underneath of there. And this is just the way I do it, using a floor jack. I have taken the bucket of my tractor and raised the front of it up, wrap a couple chains around your the forks there where your wheels are at, and lift the front of it up. That way you can access underneath of the deck easier. I've used a winch in the ceiling before. That works great. Use the boom pole in the back of the tractor, pick it up. That works great. I'm just in the shop tonight. I don't really feel like fooling with all that, so I'm gonna use this floor jack just to jack it up enough, and I can crawl underneath there, get the blades, put my new bolts and blades on, and she should be good to go. And, all right, I got my mower up. Anytime you fooling with anything like this, it's always a good idea to put a jack stand or something underneath of it. Just for safety. Wife's in the house, but just for safety, it's good to put a jack stand or something underneath of this when you're out doing something like this. Wife's in the house, and I could be out here underneath the lawnmower, and she wouldn't know till 10, 11 o'clock at night when I don't come to bed. So always a good idea. Just try to be safe and do that. More than likely, nothing's gonna happen, but there's always that chance. And here I am preaching safety, and I only have one jack stand, so I don't know where my other one's at. This is better than nothing. So I mentioned that I had bent a bolt. I think that's pretty bent. And like I said, these are aftermarket bolts. I get them at Lowe's. They're cheap. They're galvanized. They're not made for this. But I needed something longer, and I can't bring myself to pay $30 or $40 for a bolt that's about a ½ inch longer than what the factory calls for. So I just go to Lowe's, get the cheap ones, and I try not to hit anything, but I clipped a stump Saturday. So, and like I say, the blades there wore out too. These are pretty much trash. Ends of them broke off, and they're just wore out. So good time to catch up on that anyway. All right, so I got the same thing again, except these are 10 inch. That was a 12 inch. I probably had the 12 inch just because that's all they had today. The last time I went to pick them up, I don't know. But anyway, this is actually, I don't know why I got that long bolt in there now that I'm looking at it, because this is actually the original setup. When I say the original setup, when you go buy your mower off the showroom, this is your blade bolt. You have a washer, and then you have a spacer. So you got the bolt, then you put the washer on, and then your blade will go on, and then the spacer. So, and that's all it is to it. Crawl underneath there, shove it up through there. A lot of times it is easier to have somebody else when you put it up through there to screw the nut on. My arms are long enough so I can usually maneuver around enough to get it done, but it is a lot easier to have somebody helping you do that. So, but it's fairly simple. One of the really simpler setups that. But other than that, it's fairly simple. The Toro I got behind me here, you know, you got to crawl underneath that and take your impact underneath of there, and you got to make sure the mower's up high enough so you can get your impact turned in the right angle where you can get the bolt out, because the bolts go up through that way. These go all the way through the spindle and everything. So I do like that feature on the Scag. All right, give you a little overview of what we're dealing with underneath here. Of course, that's the spindle that the blade and this long bolt that I got will go through. You can see my other blades down there. I still need to tighten those up. I haven't tightened those, but all that can be done now from at the top. All I got to do is slide this one through this spindle and put the nut on it, and then all I got to do is tighten them down and she'll be ready to roll. All right, so got my blades on, got my new bolts. 2 nights ago, I think it was, I grazed all the grease fittings and everything on it. Quite a few grease fittings on the Scag mowers. I do like that. A lot of the new stuff that you get, I know Toro. I don't think the new one that I have a Z-Master 2000. I don't think that has any grease fittings on it at all. If it does, it only has one, which that's on the idler pulley, I believe. I got 2 of those mowers. This is a new one. I know the old one does. The old Z-Master 2000 has one on the idler pulley, but I'm not 100% sure about this one. But the Scag does. It's got grease fittings on the wheels. It's got grease fittings on each spindle. A lot of the deck controls where the assist to let the deck up and down, all that's got grease fittings on it. The hangers in the back, they got grease fittings on it. This one is actually a shaft driven, so there's a belt coming off the back of the motor, turning a spindle that's turning a drive shaft that goes up underneath of the mower into a gearbox that's on the deck, and that's where you get your deck power from. Of course, the spindles will run off of a belt, but pretty neat setup. I've talked to some people about it. I know years ago I talked to a Scag representative, and he said that he didn't like the drive shaft, and I liked the idea at first, but he explained to him, it made sense. He said, if that drive shaft breaks, he said, you're looking at, decent amount of money. He said, where, if you had a belt, you can replace a belt for, 50 to 100 bucks. So I see his point from there, but I think as long as you keep up with the maintenance on anything, you should be in pretty good shape, and it'll last you a long time. I'm not the easiest on some of this equipment. It does get abused. I'll tell you, I'm lazy sometimes. I don't want to get off a lawnmower. I'll run over a stick or whatever. And with this mower here, it usually shreds it up pretty good. So I buy the cheap blades. You usually get them from a place called Agri Supply. Order them, they'll ship them right to your house. I've got them from there. Got them from Amazon. So anyway, I don't try not to put a whole lot of money into equipment, because I know what I'm gonna end up doing to it. I'm gonna end up probably bending a blade, or a stick get caught up in the deck and break a belt or something like that. And, but anyway, I bought a belt for this last year, and this is a 72-inch cut. And the deck belt, they stretch and they'll get some nicks and tears in it. I think the deck belt was $152, I believe it was, at our local Scag dealer. But it's just unbelievable the way stuff is. I usually try to find stuff on Amazon or something like that when I can. I do try to keep my local Scag dealer and Toro and Steel and all that, keep them happy, and still try to buy some stuff from them. But a lot of times when it comes to parts, I just can't I can't bite the bullet to pay what they want for some of that stuff. And it's not them, it's the Scag and Toro and Steel manufacturers that are getting that money. But anyway, I think that's with any equipment and anything you do nowadays, vehicles or anything. But I'm a little bit of a cheapskate, so I try to save where I can. So. Well, anyway, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Probably a little short video today. Just out here in the garage. Didn't have a whole lot going on this evening. I probably cut about 8 to 10 yards on the side after I get off work. Didn't have anything to do tonight, so just wanted to get my equipment up and running. My dad, he helps me when he can. So he usually uses one of my Toros, and I usually get on this. I feel like I can anyway, kind of finagle, I guess you can say, some areas around with this a little bit better, because it is a 6-foot deck, so you don't always get the best cut out of it. You do I usually have to take my foot and kind of feather the deck, as I like to think of it in my mind, especially when you're on uneven ground and stuff like that. It can botch the grass up a little bit. So I can do a pretty good job with it, but you just got to be careful. It's not like the other Toros that I have. They're 52-inch, so that's 20 inches difference, and you can really tell it, because like I say, if you get on some uneven ground, you're going to know it. So I usually try to keep this one for my flat spots and stuff like that. I didn't go out and buy this more new. I got it used. My local Scag dealer there, they had this one used there, so I was able to purchase it at a fairly reasonable price. So that's the reason I got it. It's not something that I would have probably went out, seeking to get with this deck. I would like to have a 61-inch deck for it, but they're hard to come by. But anyway, that's enough of me rambling on. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave me a comment. Let me know that you're watching. I really enjoy doing this, and hopefully I can post some more videos more frequently, and hopefully we get some more subscribers. And just again, thank y'all for tuning in. Hope y'all have a blessed evening.